I'm not going 200 meters, it's 660 feet. I'm not doing mixed gas. I'm not doing massive decompressions. I'm in the shallows.
I'm snorkeling.
Maybe swimming. In a jacuzzi. Hey guys, it's Cam with Craft and Tailored. In this episode of What Is On My Wrist, we're talking about a 2022 Tudor Pelagos FXD. So some people call it a Pelagos, some people call it a Pelagos. I think you can call it both, Pelagos, Pelagos. Anyways, huge fan of Tudor, as you know. We've reviewed all kinds of Tudor on the channel, vintage Tudor, modern Tudor. One of my all-time favorite watches is actually not a vintage watch at all. It's a Black Bay 58. It's a watch that I probably wear the most. But I was called by Tudor. They had an FXD, and I think the watch is really, really cool. So I want to kind of take you through the history of the watch, why I like this watch, and kind of give you a tech spec breakdown of the watch as a whole. So it's no secret, the French Navy issued Tudor Snowflake submariners to their combat divers, and the Tudor and Marine Nationale, or MN, relationship goes all the way back to like 1956, and it's still to this day something that Tudor and the French Navy they collaborate and participate together. So this watch actually was kind of, I guess, inspired by the blue Tudor Snowflake submariners that were most commonly seen on the wrists of the MN combat divers. Matter of fact, I think I have his book somewhere here. Hold on.
I'll get it.
Pete's gonna get it for me. So our good friend Watch History on IG did this really awesome book. This is titled Marine Nationale, and it's basically all different types of watches that were issued to the MN. A good number of them are the Tudor submariners, like this 94010. So you can see that this takes kind of direct inspiration from the Tudors that were issued in the 70s and in the 80s. And if you haven't done so, check out Watch History. He has a great Instagram, and I love this book. This book is really awesome. I'm really stoked that he put this together. So the FXD is basically, a watch that Tudor created in 2021. This one that I have here is a 2022. One of the main reasons why I like this watch is it does have that kind of direct connection to the MN. And matter of fact, Tudor worked alongside of the MN to create basically a modern mill sub. That's one of the reasons why I love this watch so much. So this watch retails for $3,900. It is a tremendous value for what this watch is. The watch measures 42 in diameter, 52 millimeters lug to lug, and 12.75 millimeters in thickness. Now, the original Pelagos was also like this, made from titanium, but the watch was really thick because it accompanies a helium escape valve. And I always liked the normal black or blue titanium Pelagos. I think the bracelet on the watch is really cool, but the watch just was too thick for me. 42 millimeters in this configuration actually works really well. And the thing that's really great about this watch is that there's no date. So it uses a Tudor MT5602 cost graded movement, which is actually the same movement that is in the Tudor Black Bay 58. So with that thinner movement, without the date complication, they were able to keep the watch much thinner, which works really nice on my wrist. Now, why is this watch kind of like, in my opinion, a modern mill sub? Well, for a couple of different reasons. One, crazy luminous material on this watch. I don't know what Tudor is using for the luminous material, but it is insane. I don't know if it's a super luminova, I don't know if it's some proprietary material, but this is the brightest luminous material I've ever seen in my life. Was that gonna pick up?
They thought that too.
They're going to the store right now. They're like, Cam's talking about the Tudor FXD. I gotta race to the Tudor outlet. They just called me. I wanna get it before the next dude does. Matter of fact, I've gone surfing with this watch. I've actually gone snorkeling with the watch. I've been in the water with this watch, and even in the daylight as I'm underwater, the luminous material kind of emits a glow. So I think that from a technical perspective is really, really cool. Additionally, snowflake hands, which I really love. You can differentiate quickly between hours and minutes. Pointed crown guards on the case, kind of that like throwback kind of PCG vibe to the piece. I love the winding crown on this, really kind of more traditional Rolex with the crown style. It's kind of knurled in a different way outside of like the Tudor Black Bay series. 200-meter water resistance, so not like the other Pelagos that is I think that thing is like, I don't even know what the Tudor Pelagos depth rating is. Let me Google that. 500 meters. 200 versus 500. I'm definitely not going 500 meters. 60 meters, maybe. One other thing that is kind of mil-sub-esque, outside of the obvious, which we'll get to in a second, is a fully gradiated bezel like the original 5513s and the 5517s, so the original Rolex mil-subs. This bezel is basically what they call a navigation bezel. So essentially it's a countdown bezel. So the idea is that, and also one unique feature is the bezel is actually bi-directional instead of unidirectional. So you can go both ways, similar to like a GMT, not something that is common for divers' watches. So essentially if you wanted to time 10 minutes to a countdown point, you would put the 10-minute indicator or marker on the outer bezel, and then when that hand gets to the triangle, that is your countdown bezel. So everything is kind of backwards on the bezel, which I actually find kind of useful. It's just, I guess, a different way of thinking as you're counting down on things instead of like keeping track of time, if that makes sense. Also, the bezel is fully loomed, so the bezel actually grows as well, which is really cool, really awesome. Most kind of, I guess, comparable thing to a mil-sub is that the watch has fixed spring bars, so it's fixed, FXD, fixed. So I'm thinking to myself, if the British Royal Navy or the Navy or anybody was to issue a dive watch and they wanted that robustness, I think this is basically what they would design. They would design not a bolt-on kind of welded in spring bar. They would design a case like this. Additionally, I think titanium makes a great material for a military issue watch. It's light, it's corrosion resistant, and it's really, really strong. If like I were to create a mil-sub today, whether it be Tudor or Rolex, essentially this is kind of what I would create. The only thing that I would probably change is maybe the size. I would opt for a 40 instead of a 42. And I would just probably put like a normal bezel. I like that it's fully graded and that it's loomed, but the countdown bezel is kind of just like, it's the only watch in my collection that is a countdown bezel, which is cool. But for the way that I use the watch, I would prefer just kind of a regular bezel. So this is a watch that's actually in my personal collection. It's not a watch for sale, but I'm really stoked on this watch and I really like it. Tudor did a really good job, as always, of kind of putting this together. They include two straps. This fabric strap, which is a single pass strap that has this titanium buckle. It's a really comfy strap. I've actually been out in the water surfing with this and it's one of my favorite straps. 22 millimeters on the lug, so tons of strap options out there. And then they also include like this like really cool kind of like woven hybrid rubber strap. It's like a rubber strap that has, I guess, kind of like a fabric-y material in there that's really strong and also kind of nice and light. I really like the watch. I think that the value is here for the watch. It's a watch that I plan on keeping in my collection for the foreseeable future. And I'm a big fan of Tudor, so it sits nicely in my collection. All right, guys, so thank you so much for tuning in. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think of the Tudor FXD. Would you buy one? Do you like it? Do you hate it? What do you think overall? Additionally, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit the bell for notifications. If you're not doing so already, follow us on Instagram at @CraftandTailored as well as TikTok. And if you've got watch questions, we're here and happy to help. Drop us a line at info@craftandtailored.com. I will see you guys in the next one. You want that door open? You don't care? Don't want the door open? Pete doesn't want the door open. But he does want the lights on. You know what I'm saying?
I do like the lights on.